Hello everyone, welcome back to a major reading. You see the thumbnail, you see the title. You know today I am going to be doing a reading on the Beckham's family drama. This is mainly between David, Victoria, and I'm sorry I'm forgetting the son's name. I want to say, yeah, it is Brooklyn. David Brooklyn and Victoria Beckham. They have kind of been going through this little like spat in the media, going back and forth with each other in regards to Brooklyn's recent marriage to a billionaire heiress. And apparently his parents don't approve of her, and they feel like she is controlling him and trying to isolate him from his family. And from what we can see from the public, it seems like he wants to be the one to kind of draw away from his family for whatever reason. We don't, or at least, yeah, we don't, because I'm gonna say we, because I don't know exactly what is the what's the root of the issue, why these three are having an issue, why he wants to pull away from his family. But I figured maybe we'll get into the reading and maybe something will come up. And if not, I'm okay with that too. So yeah, I just kind of want to see what this drama is kind of just really rolling out to be and where it's stemming from, and if there's hope that there will be some kind of makeup about this, because I know some people are saying Brooklyn should really tread carefully and he should be nice with his family, because if things fall apart with this marriage, he's gonna have to or more than likely he's gonna lean on his family, because they've given him a name, a foundation. They're the whole reason why he was able to even meet this billionaire heiress, because if he was some other little Beckham in some other part of the world without these famous parents, more than likely he wouldn't have met this girl and gotten married. So off of that alone, a lot of people saying, he's been very privileged to have the family that he have and to have this marriage, and he should play his cards better. But, it's easier said than done, and we don't know what's all been going on behind the scenes with this family, and what's his perspective on things. So I figured we would do a reading on this and see what comes out. But before I do want to issue a few disclaimers. One, tarot should not be used as an end-all be-all, especially when it comes to matters of financial matters, if it is coming to something of legal matters, if it is coming to medical things, etc. You want to make sure that you consult, even if it's something with like, is there something mental or a spiritual thing that's going on with me? Tarot can kind of like guide you or maybe pull out some things that resonate, but I highly, highly encourage you to consult with someone, a professional in those areas, so that you may arrive to the best answer for you. I just say that to be clear. Secondly, my other disclaimer is that I want you to think of me as a spiritual translator, okay? And the key word here is translator. Sometimes when it comes to translations, there's no one-on-one translation. There may be some mistranslation or misinterpretation of something, but I am trying to relay the gist of what I am receiving to the best of my ability. So, with that being said, please note that all comments, opinions, statements made are of my own, and they are for entertainment purposes only. Okay, so just to give you a heads up, I have to issue that disclaimer, not just because I want to prove I'm afraid of being sued or anything like that. It's really just to inform people that that is not how my readings work. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into this reading and see what's coming up for these three people. For anyone wanting to know the cards that I'm using, I usually link them down in the description box below, so you can always go in and look and see if you are interested in them as well. Okay. All right. Okay. So I am pulling for Brooklyn Beckham first, and I am getting the garden, and I am getting the mice, and these are coming up in reverse. There's definitely some kind of distrust and things like that coming from his parents, or maybe there is a lack of safety there when it comes to his parents. I would say it's definitely dealing with some kind of like some kind of social aspect because of the garden appearing here and it's coming up in reverse. I don't know if maybe this is stemming from some past prior incident of like the best way what I'm getting in my mind is like, like it's some social gathering, and maybe his parents are like forcing him out to like meet certain people or be in a certain crowd or try to rub elbows with certain people, and maybe he's telling them like, this person isn't the best, I don't like this person, or you're trying to force me to be something that I'm not, because we are, or because you all are this famous and popular couple here, and I just don't kind of want to live up to that. I kind of want to be in the background, in the shadows, and that's more so what I'm getting for him. But with the mice being here, it definitely feels like maybe typically when I get the mice is more so like worries, but this feels more so like anxiety to me, and I don't know if he suffers from like social anxiety and those kind of things. um i I wonder if he even wanted to be a model. I wonder if they pushed him into being a model, because this energy just feels very reluctant, and I think his wife has been like his saving grace. She's been like his, in his opinion, and I don't know if this really is, but I'm just giving the intuitive feelings that I'm picking up on. It just really feels like he credits his wife as his safe haven, as his peace, as his safe space, as his spiritual animal or whatever. Like, she's been my saving grace and everything. If it wasn't for her, who knows where I would be. And maybe she has pointed some things out to him, or she has paved the way for him to really just kind of like relax and be himself, whereas he didn't feel like he could do that with his family. Maybe he felt like he was being forced to work really hard, or again being something that he isn't. Let's see. Okay. I would say one thing I'm getting for Victoria. See, yeah, I feel like Victoria feels upset, because what I'm getting is like, you ever heard of that saying, spare the rod, spoil the child? I'm kind of getting that energy from her. The whip can sometimes mean exactly what it is, whipping people into shape, whipping people into shape. But on top of the cross as well, this is making me feel like maybe we should have put more boundaries in place, more expectations, more rules, or guidance and things like that. And it kind of feels like she's like, the sentiment is, spare the rod, spoil the child energy for me. It's kind of like how she feels Brooklyn is doing. She kind of seems like the energy for her, in my opinion, this kind of feels like, maybe we were too easy on you, or we really spoiled you, or, this is you kind of like throwing a temper tantrum. Um, I do feel like that it's a moment here where she's like, I knew then that we should have did this kind of thing. I don't know what the moment is, but I feel like there's something here where she's like, there was a moment in time when I knew we should have cracked down, or I knew we should have put our foot down, or said something or did something, and we didn't, and now here are the repercussions. Um yeah. And notice both of these are clubs too. So this is some very spiritual energy. Okay, let's see what David is coming up with. What is David? Let's see. Okay, I like how both of these came up, but this is what fell first. See, look, child is coming up in reverse. He doesn't seem to have the best. Do David kind of feel guilty, like he was not a, was he not involved in Brooklyn's life, or when at a certain time when Brooklyn probably really needed what I'm trying to think of the word. It kind of feels like, again, alleged for entertainment purposes only. I don't know. Of course, I don't. Wasn't brought up in the house, but it kind of feels like David's energy is like he feels guilty, or like, yeah, just like guilty of like not being around at a certain crucial point of time in Brooklyn's life when, he was being brought up, when maybe he needed more hands-on father figure, or guidance, that boundary or something like that. And again, I feel like David is also seeing him as kind of like, you're being a petulant child. This is you kind of just like, we were being too easy with you, we were being too nice, or we weren't as focused on you as we should have been, at a point in time. And now again, here we are finding ourselves in this position. I do think there is something here, maybe an apology, or something of some sort, with the lilies or whatever being here, or coming to terms with the past. I feel like it's the other energy maybe here that's coming up. But it kind of feels like, I'm apologetic that I wasn't more involved or more present in your life at this point in time when you needed me to be, because I feel like he thinks that's more so what it is. Um, and it kind of feels like he's like, you're gonna have to learn the hard way. You're gonna have to bump your head, because there's no amount of what we could say or do that's gonna make you understand. You just have to live life. It's almost kind of like the energy I'm getting from uh David here, where Victoria just seems like maybe it is anger, but it's more so like, it's like I want to say like a mother's rage. Like, I'm upset that you won't let me protect you. To shelter you, to guide you, to hold you, kind of energy. I do see the underlying energy here is with the fox. Fox usually speaks to trickery, especially for me. It usually reads like trickery, two-facedness, um, not quite, um, yeah, two-facedness, not quite being like above board, sneaky behavior. We do have the sun here as well. And the other underlying card is fortune with the fish here. Let's see. Get more. I get some more clarity on their energy. See, look, didn't I mention, look, this card says presence of absence. Didn't I mention that there was something, like, were both of his parents working a lot at the time he was coming up? And so maybe he feels resentful to them about that. Because remember, I was also saying something about the past with her too, and also about, spare the rod, spoil the child kind of thing. It just kind of feels like they were kind of absent in his life at a crucial point in time. And he's like, lashing out at them or holding some kind of grudge against them because of that. See, look, intention. And this card reads, lacking personal direction begets confusion and life as a pawn to someone else's game of chess. I think this is just going to be a learning lesson for him. I think his parents are going to have to watch him fall, unfortunately, because he's just not going to want to listen. Like, they can be there. Like, I'm not saying like they have to completely step away from him or anything like that, but they're going to have to kind of like, ooh, my candle got real tall when I was saying this. It just kind of feels like, to me, they're going to have to be ready to be his safety net, catch him when he falls, because and just let them know, hey, you're married, you're gonna make these choices, we're here for you, and they're just gonna have to kind of like lay back. But I don't think they're gonna want to do that. I don't think they're gonna want to do that. What are these two cards that feel? See, creative power, release your alchemical energy into the world. And then we also have circles. Clarity begins in the eye of the storm here. Yeah, I feel like she is so emotionally invested, as a mother should. I'm not shaming her for that at all. It's completely understandable. But it kind of just feels like, to me, Victoria is kind of like, Victoria Beckham is in this energy of like chaotic mom, maybe overbearing mom. And it's like, at this point, you're gonna have to let your hands off the wheel. Your son is grown. He's made a decision, and it is what it is now. Like, you're gonna have to let that go. And I understand. She's like, no. Radical honesty, to believe in the facades, to suffocate in the armor of alienation, self defeat, and self denial. What isn't he being honest about? This lily in the mountains. What is he not being honest about? What is the struggle here, David? What is okay? Can I get another clarifying card for his energies here? Or is it he's not like asking forgiveness? Is he? See, what is the okay? What's going on here? Weeping wound. You are not your wounds. I wasn't expecting this because, like, looking at these two, like when you see them in pictures and you see their personality, I would expect David to be the more like warm one and Victoria to be very cold. But to me, it seems like she's the bleeding heart and he's the one that can be kind of cold. At least coming through on these cards to me, or at least in this situation, where David seems to come off like very old, like that British cold parenting. Um, and he just keeps a lot of it bottled in, or whatever. I'm not sure what this is, but again, there is some wound here. I don't know if it's between the two, father and son relationship, or if it's just, again, that guilt, that hurt of this whole situation kind of like playing out the way that it is. That is the wound here, the hurt for him. But yeah, I do feel there's definitely some healing needed on David's part about something he feels guilty about or hurt about in some sense, that's coming up for him when it comes in regards to his son Brooklyn. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna read one last thing. Why do they not want him with her? What's the real reason? Let's see. I had a couple. I have more than a couple cards that feel okay. So I do have, look, that garden is coming up again in reverse, and I shuffled this deck. We also have the coffin. I have the birds, and then I also have the house. My candle is like going crazy. Um, the best way that I could describe this is, I feel like David and Victoria, or maybe several people that run in that circle, have heard things about Nicola and her family, maybe. Um, and maybe how they kind of go about. I feel like is something with like negative rumors or things that have been told about the family or Nicola herself, that is troubling them. And that's where they're concerned. And I feel like another thing that's coming up is like, I feel like the other part of this, and it may be the on the lighter end of the spectrum, is kind of like we would have hoped you would have maybe went for somebody who maybe grew up a little opposite or different from you, because y'all maybe the upbringing is a little too similar. Um, and maybe not conducive for a home. I feel like is another thing that's kind of coming up, is the best way I can state that. Um, yeah, because I feel like there's a concern here or something like of like, um, she kind of was raised by a nanny or was like hands offy kind of thing, and here you are falling for somebody else. You kind of both probably have been brought up in the same way, and we would have hoped you probably found somebody who comes from a more loving or tight knit family or something like that. Because this is just going to maybe continue to contribute to the issues that you already have, and maybe that's a concern. Um, yeah, my chest feel tight too. What's up with that? And I'm definitely hearing. I heard it through the grapevine. I'm hearing that play in my head. The inner integration. There is peace, equilibrium, and fulfillment in integrating the inner wild with the taming and tempering effect the life has on it. Yeah. So perspective, a calm and clear mind is free to differentiate. Let's see, one more card. See, melting mask. Allow your spirit soul to shine through many. So I definitely feel like there's a thing here of like something about two-facedness coming up as well. Maybe appearing one way, but things are another. And again, this makes me feel like there has been some things that have been said or heard, told to one another, in regards to Nicola or her family, and that's where the concern is coming up at. And I wonder if there's also a thing here where maybe not feeling that, maybe the other thing here is like maybe feeling like the families don't align in some sense either. Is it something with is it the family maybe? More so with Nicola? Or maybe they don't know enough about the family, like it's just wrapped up in too much secrecy. Hmm. I'm not getting more clarity than that. It's just maybe there's something I'm not supposed to see. But I do feel like it is. I think maybe more so is leaning towards Nicola's family. Maybe not so much judgment on Nicola herself, but it's like, this is a merger of two families essentially, and there is maybe some concern here, in regards to kind of like, I don't know if it is weird. It's like I don't know if it's a thing of like the families are too similar, or the upbringings are too similar, but the families are too different. Um, that may be coming up here, and or something about like not there's not enough we can find out about the family. Like there's something of concern, but then it's like a dead end or something. Yeah, that's what I'm picking up on. Yeah, because the only other underlying cards I'm getting here is the anchor. So this makes me feel like Maybe there's no some sense of non-attachment. The clover, not the best of luck, not some kind of great fortune. I don't think they think anything negative about the finance wise or anything like that. Hello, she is a billionaire heiress or whatnot, but um yeah, look, it's something about, I feel like it's something about the merger of the families or something here. There, or maybe they didn't get enough out of it or something. I hope that's not what it is, but yeah, it just feels like something with the merger of these two families is not um smooth. It's not kosher. Yeah. And it's kind of like, well, where do we go from here with that? Okay, what's gonna roll out from this? Like, are they gonna make up? Let's see. That's the last thing I'm gonna do before I wrap this up. Let's see. Will these three make up? You know what? I'm intuitively picking up, before I even read these cards, intuitively picking up that no, they will not make up unless he feels that they give his wife a chance, or they apologize to her, or make up things with her, smooth things over with her. So yeah, let's see what I'm about to get with these cards. Intuitively, I'm picking up. See, yeah, look. Oh, this is a lot. Okay, tree, that's giving up roots, that's giving up family and stuff here. We do have the protective mama bear card coming up here, and it's coming up in reverse. And we also have the clouds coming up here that's speaking to obscurity, something not being seen, something, behind the scenes. We do have letter, we have the clover coming up in the upright, and then we also have the coffin. Um I'm I'm feeling like it's a no, unless, and I feel like this is more so from Brooklyn's end of things, of course. It's like, no, there is no making up until you smooth things over with my wife. Like, I don't know what Victoria and David did to insult her, but yeah, it feels like not until you make things up with my wife. And it feels very much like I could care less either way. Okay, let's see what's the three cards I have here. So I do have the confusion card. Growth hurts, heals, and harnesses a way through uncertainty. See, we have spirit self, be who you are as you are. And then we also have wishful expectations. And not just smoke and mirrors in your life for what they are. It feels very much like this is, at least in this current energy, is still very much on the rocks. Brooklyn feels very much um and the energy that I'm picking up on, he feels very much in the right about not, making up with his family, not making this amends, not wanting to talk to them, keeping this separation because of whatever insult or hurt that he is carrying here. And I think David and Victoria are very much digging in, have dug in their heels where they are, and in being like, it's the reason why we said this is not to hurt you or to be mean or anything like that. But I do feel like they, more so with their energy that's coming through for me, is like, but you are acting like a petulant child, you are throwing a temper tantrum right now. But we only have ourselves to blame because we should have put more structure around you, more boundaries. We should have been paying more attention. Maybe we should have really set steps and foundations in place for you to kind of like be responsible and you know, a well managed adult or whatever. And it's like now it's a little too late. And so yeah, I don't, right now this energy is very much up in the air. And I don't see much of this changing. I think it's very much going to be a very tension filled relationship. If a relationship is there at all, it feels like this is riddled with tension. I am wishing them the best. I would like to see the family make up. If it's in the best, if it's in the best interest of all parties involved. I, you know, don't want to say something like that and not knowing something more that's going on with this. I think there is something deeper going on here, but I'm not allowed into seeing what it is, or at least in this context, because this is a public reading. So I respect and understand that, and I will see, or you know, we'll be on the standby and see what comes up out of this later, if there is anything else. Hopefully they can, you know, sort this all out behind the scenes and make up. We don't need to be privy to that, you know. It's family stuff. So with that being said, let me know what you think down in the comments section. Do you think there's something else here? Was there something here that I kind of like started down the road on that you kind of want to, or that you can provide more insight into? That is always much appreciated. With that being said, I thank you for watching. I wish you a great night. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.